So why is he so even concerned that there's going to be white dispossession when they already own everything, they already maintain everything? What are you afraid of? Why is he...
He's just saying, let's keep it the way it is so people can keep coming here.
No, the reason why people come here is because there's an engine to work. There's not manufacturing anymore, but there are
opportunities.
Reasons, yeah, there's
and
opportunities.
Who created those opportunities? The people he doesn't want displaced. So they created the opportunity that began to attract the world. The founding fathers of this country, who were later colonized. The United States of America was founded by white people.
Who runs America right now?
Who runs it?
Yes.
The administration, you mean?
He's basically saying, I don't want all of these people here because I want...
No. Dispossession of white, meaning that...
So it's okay to have all these people here?
You know that this complex infrastructure can only be managed and has been managed for 250 years.
By whites.
That's correct.
And they're the only ones who understand administration. They're the only ones who understand how to maintain.
The country is built on a culture.
So you're saying
without that culture, America wouldn't be.
So you're saying if minorities and immigrants come together and they're working in an administration, they won't be able to maintain a city? They don't have the capacity?
Do you have to ask me that question?
I'm just simply saying because
guys, so this is also one of my best Zanu videos ever since I started analyzing his classes and really understanding his mode of thinking. And when I really listen to him carefully, I understand that his intent, even though at, what he calls thinking fast and slow, when you think really fast without trying to understand the full weight of his worldview and what he's trying to achieve, you might feel as though he's always defending white people and always castigating black people. That's how it sounds at first, instance. And many of his interviewees confirm this, that at the beginning, they feel like he insults a lot of black people, black culture and all that. But at the end of the discussion, when he criticizes conclusions, they end up realizing that, okay, I think this makes sense, even though it's a hard pill to chew, but for some reason, this really makes sense. And that's what's really happening in this video I'm going to be playing for you guys. It's really super interesting. As an African academic, as a Nigerian historian, I think I'm able to understand Zanu, because you see, we come from a place where we might be immigrants to the West, but we come from a place where we were born on the continent, all right? So we have a certain advantage of seeing both worlds from a certain Afrocentric center, all right? And so I think that's why I'm able to grasp the arguments Zanu makes. And even though they might sound insulting to a foundational black American, for example, or a black South African, for example, I'm able to understand where he's coming from and how he's critiquing both black and white cultures in their efforts to live together in this really complex world, all right? So in this argument, in this discussion here, I'll just give a few cents before we watch the video. Franck Zanu is of the opinion, right? There was a critique by this lady here. She actually saw a video by this white guy who was praising the policies of Donald Trump, arguing that if Trump is able to succeed in passing all the policies he has drafted, in his tenure, he's going to prevent the dispossession of white Americans, all right? So in other words, he's going to prevent, so to speak, a replacement by a certain majority of immigrants of white populations, white cultures and all that. And she was from the perspective that how dare he speak of a dispossession of white. America is supposed to be for everyone. America is supposed to be owned by everyone, just like as we also see in South Africa today, when the ANC government and many policies as well also try to majoritize, if that's a word. I know in one of my papers I've used the word majoritarian, but it's a way of trying to allow what the Marxists would have called a hegemony of the proletariat, but now it would be the hegemony of the majority, right? Overriding the presence of the minorities in a certain area. And so This is what the lady was actually angry, that this white man is trying to, speak about the fact that Trump wants to stop the dispossession of white people in the US, and that she was like, how dare how dare he have the audacity to say such a thing on video. Let's quickly watch the video that got her really angry.
I want to know how it is you voted for Donald Trump when you're so into facts, because his entire campaign is not based in facts. It was all based in propaganda and emotion.
I voted for Donald Trump for one reason only. His policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. If you were to deport all illegal immigrants, if you were to think very hard about letting in any Muslims, all of this would slow the rate at which whites are becoming a minority.
Why are you so worried about the white dispossession of America?
Because I want my people to survive.
Yeah, you've watched it. So now, Franck Zanu is now of the opinion, right, that the founders of America, the founders of the United States, and I remember reading that book then, I think it was titled The Men Who Founded America, or Who Built America, something like that, the likes of John Rockefeller, the like of the guy who, Ford, and these other big juggernauts who actually pioneered the entrepreneurship that bolstered the United States. Zanu is of the opinion that those men built America, and it was built on a certain culture, which he calls the WASP, which is the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture. All right, so this was the culture upon which the modern contemporary United States of America, even though many have argued that it was stolen from the Indians and all that, but what became of what they built was built on a white Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture that unfortunately from the 1650s to the 1850s featured the transportation of black people from the Bight of Benin, the Bight of Biafra and all that during what was called the transatlantic slave trade from 1650 to 1850, and had to come into the, through the Atlantic into the islands to work on plantations that bolstered the wealth that this building of the United States actually would, so to speak, encapsulated with. All right, and so this is why many foundational black Americans argue that they are the ones who built America. The America was built on their backs and their labor and all that. The whites as well, the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants would also argue that, well, yes, you might have built the United States with labor and all that, but we also had come with the engineering, with the design, with the structure and all that. So it's a really complicated, really complex place to have a discussion, but that's where this discussion was actually going. And the lady actually, so to speak, was of the opinion that, whites own everything. I mean, they already control everything. Why are they scared of a dispossession? And this is the part that got me really interested in this discussion, because it was when Franck Zanu started going deep into, what he called monochronic and polychronic cultures. I really love that differentiation, because I remember the days when I arrived Finland. I had my master's degree and my doctoral PhD degree in modern African political economy and African history, contemporary African history, post-colonial history. That's what I had a PhD in. And I remember when I got to Finland, all right, I remember I used to tell my friends that, dude, I just left Lagos and I arrived here. And when I observed these guys, the Finns, as it were, I noticed that punctuality felt like an art. When it was time to have a meeting by 8 o'clock, these guys would be at the region around by 7:30, all right, just walking around, so that by 8, they are seated, right, ready at this meeting. From the Lagos, where I had come from at this time, in Franck Zanu's terminologies, we actually came from a polychronic culture. A polychronic culture sees time cyclically, all right? So African time, what many Nigerians would call African time, in my own definition, is a sign of a perception of time when time is adaptable, time is flexible, time isn't really glued to a mechanical conceptualization of this piece of eternity called time, all right? So monochronic cultures have learned to mechanize time. In polychronic culture, like many African societies, I even learned that Italy, Spain, I used to visit Greece as well. They also function a lot like many African cultures. So that polychronic culture, as it were, has more adaptability and all that as regards time. But monochronic cultures, we see that in Finland, Northern Europe, the United States, Switzerland, there's a really mechanization. Time has been mechanized, so it's systematic. Punctuality is an art, as it were. So Franck Zanu argues that for these men who built the United States to maintain the way it was built based on this culture, the WASP culture, but also the monochronic character of the builders, they would necessarily need the kind of immigrants that are made up of such a character, all right, and such a worldview, not to the detriment of the immigrants who might have come from a polychronic culture, because we are different and we must be proud of our differences. But it's because of the fact that to maintain the complexity and the structure of the United States as a system, there had to be a certain kind of cultural mindset, and the people from that mindset that would need to be in that space and to maintain this particular culture that has been so flourishing to the point where many people from across the world are flocking in, fighting their way to get into the United States. And so Zanu was of the opinion that if the United States is flooded and, overridden by, many of these immigrants and who actually probably come from a polytheistic, not polytheistic now, but polychronic cultures, it would be a challenge to manage the complexities around which this machine, which we might call the United States now, had been built. And so that's the basis for the argument that this white man from the beginning that made this lady mad actually was coming from. And really brilliant argument. I don't want to spill all the beans, but I mean, let's quickly listen and try to learn from their back and forth and see if we can learn a few things about how it is that, many white people today seem afraid, not necessarily because they're afraid of the fact that there are many foreigners coming into the country. But Zanu is actually pointing us to the fact that they might be afraid for something else, which actually, is encapsulated within this mentality to maintain the frame that has been attractive to bring in many other multiple diverse cultures into this, what Franck Zanu refuses to call a melting pot, but a salad that the United States has become. And share your thoughts, guys, in the comments.
So they say when a tree falls into a river, it doesn't become a fish. Now, I'm a naturalized American, but I'm not going to say that I'm an American. I'm American politically, but not culturally. The Chinese dude was born in this country, and therefore he's American by birth. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't make him American culturally.
Why? Why doesn't it make him American? Doesn't he live here?
No, culturally, I mean. When you talk about white people, the founding fathers of this country were of the same uniform background, WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. They have a culture, a religion, a language, a history, and they want to protect it. This is the home of their children. This is what they build for their children, and you came in as a guest. The guest will never take over a house. Never happen. Number two, I really would support the white man, okay, for the dispossession of white, as he's saying, because you see, he's trying to protect you and I. Because if this country falls into the hands, the majority of the wrong people, whatever attracts us to come here will be gone, and we will never be able to come here anymore.
So you're saying that immigrants wouldn't be able to sustain America or sustain civilization? Is that what you're saying? That we don't have the capacity to do that?
Well, I'm not saying it, I'm only describing it. Have you taken a look at Haiti recently? Would you, even as an immigrant here, want Haiti to become the majority in this country?
I mean,
have you taken a look at some of the African countries, Somalia, Sudan, South Sudan, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and all these countries that are flocking to come to this country? If they could maintain where they are to look like this place, then they wouldn't be flocking here, right? So the point the gentleman is making actually is in my interest, in the interest of people from outside who should still have an America they can come to.
But you're only describing developing countries. right? You talked about Haiti, you talked about Somalia, you're talking about other developing countries.
Well, you can see undertone what he's saying. He will be
Well,
not.
he also mentioned Middle Easterns. He also
Yes, exactly.
He doesn't like. Well, he doesn't appreciate, I guess, Asians, Middle Easterns, blacks,
yes,
or anybody who's not white. So
that
you're
would
saying
dispossess his race. Yes.
So you're saying that because immigrants are coming into this country, that they wouldn't be able to maintain the white picket fence, the greenery. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, to that, you and I don't have to look very far away at all. Have you taken a look at any black neighborhood in America recently, starting with Boston, starting with Detroit, starting with Baltimore, Bridgeport, Waterbury? Have you seen them?
I mean, I understand those are cities that are failing.
Exactly. Now, if imagine.
So we're blaming it on the black people. We're not putting responsibility or accountability on the city or anything like that.
The city is made up of those people. A city is only with people that live in it. A place is only as good as the people who live in it. Mm-hmm. America is only as good as it is that attracted people from around the world based on who built it, established it, and maintains it. If we can build and maintain public toilets in our country, we can maintain this complex infrastructure in America. You seriously, as an immigrant, think that if this country falls in the hands of some countries that you have just mentioned, we still have an America that will attract people from West Africa, Central Africa, East Africa, Asia, and all other places?
So why is he so even concerned that there's going to be white dispossession when they already own everything, they already maintain everything? What are you afraid of? Why is he...
He's just saying, let's keep it the way it is so people can keep coming here.
No, the reason why people come here is because there's an engine to work. There's not manufacturing anymore, but there are
opportunities.
Reasons. Yeah, there's
and
opportunities.
Who created those opportunities? The people he doesn't want displaced. So they created the opportunity that began to attract the world. The founding fathers of this country, who were later colonized. The United States of America was founded by white people. Yes, they stole it from Indians, fine. Whoever want to say that. They stole the land, fine. We are talking about what it became. It became what is now attracted to the entire world.
How would you describe America right now?
In what sense?
In the sense of who runs America right now.
Who runs it?
Yes.
The administration, you mean?
Not just the administration. So the way he's describing it is he's basically saying, I don't want all of these people here because I want
dispossession of white, meaning that.
So it's okay to have all these people here.
But they are here already.
Yeah, they're here already.
Exactly. He's not saying that he's angry that people are here. He understands what immigration means. So he understands that the dispossession means that if these people becomes the majority, my children will have no future. They will have no culture, no language, nothing.
But we bring the culture.
No, you came into my house. My culture was there before you arrived as a guest.
But we're coming with cultures. We're coming with customs.
What people do in other countries, which is beautiful about America, is this. If you go into somebody, so we have migrants and immigrants, right? Migrants go to a place just to have a better life, work, make money, and go home. Okay. Immigrants go to a place in order to have permanent residency. Okay. Now, if you choose to go to a place to have permanent residency, there are two things you need to do, okay, to keep the growth of the country, the development of the country, and whatever it was that attracted you. One, segregate yourself as the Chinese do nicely in Chinatown, so you can protect your own little culture in Chinatown. Or the rest, assimilate.
Okay, but immigrants come here, they work. They build businesses. They're the ones who are the doctors. They're the ones who are engineers. He's not
complaining about that. He's talking about you becoming the majority, which means things would have fallen into the hands of the majority. So, it's all he's concerned about.
So when they fall into the majority, things are just going to fall apart.
Well, we've seen it from where you came from. That's what drove you out to this place. I wouldn't even want somebody to come here. And I'm saying that you know that this complex infrastructure can only be managed and has been managed for 250 years.
By whites.
That's correct.
And they're the only ones who understand administration. They're the only ones who understand how to maintain.
The country is built on a culture.
So you're saying
without that culture, America wouldn't be.
So you're saying if minorities and immigrants come together and they're working in an administration, they won't be able to maintain a city? They don't have the capacity?
Do you have to ask me that question?
I'm just simply saying because
the people.
It sounds like
wait. He's not concerned about Germans coming to dispossess whites. It's not talking about
because they're already white.
That's correct. It's not. No, he's saying their country. Okay. I wouldn't worry if a bunch of Japanese are coming to my country. I know wherever they would occupy.
Why wouldn't you worry?
Because I've seen where they're coming from.
Okay.
It's attractive. Wherever they occupy, they'll make it look at where they're coming from, right? I'm not going to worry about crime. I'm not going to worry about blight. I'm not going to worry about trashing my streets. I'm not going to worry about petty stealing because I know where they're coming from.
Because they don't have the capacity to do those things.
That's correct. But I know certain people, if they're coming to my country, I'll be worried. Because of what you know about them. All you have to do, this gentleman has a window to some countries. He's seen the way they are in those countries, that you can't even handle a simple disagreement, political disagreement that doesn't turn violent and bloody, where people are killed and all that. He's seen it. Why shouldn't he worry? Nancy, let's really be fair to this man. He's not just saying bluntly that no foreigner should come to this country. He said, if you become the majority, my children will have no more culture.
So he also said if the policies that Trump administers will help white people. So how does he even have the audacity to even say it? How does he even feel like it's okay?
That's what I said from the beginning. I'll take the Trump policies out of it because no single American policy. Trump said, I'm going to clean up the country with violent illegal immigrants. Any country would do so. Now, I'll tell you something. The United States of America, all the way from the 60s, 70s, all the way to the late 80s, was the only country among all the industrialized countries that was very friendly to illegals. America never chased illegals in the streets and sent them out. Never did. In the 60s, ask anyone who lived in Europe. Germany had it, France had it, even the UK had it, Israel had it. You can't be walking around these countries screaming, I'm an immigrant, I'm illegal, and they take you out. Israel doesn't allow it. Many countries don't allow it. Russia doesn't allow it. South Korea doesn't allow it. You can't be an illegal immigrant and be bold enough to have a placard announcing it. It is only recently that the crime has increased and the border at the southern end of this country became porous, that anything and everybody is pouring in, that caused the country to be alarmed. Something like that, just within 8 years, when the number of illegal immigrants pouring through the southern border. Have you seen the crime? Today, they are going to sign the Riley Act, which is a girl killed by an illegal criminal who came through the southern border. Why shouldn't these gentlemen be worried about something like that? You came into a country illegally, fine. But if in the last 8 years, the millions of illegals that poured into America, we begin to hear stories like, oh my God, look at the innovation out there. They did it. Look at this thing. They did it. People will be sympathetic to them. But that is not the case.
Yes, but we have immigrants who are engineers. We have immigrants.
Would you allow, as a Haitian, would you allow Chinese to come to Haiti and slowly seeing that these people won't stop bleeding? They're just breeding and they're going to take over my country. There would be no Haiti. You would be worried generally. You will be worried. No country has allowed any foreigners, immigrants from anywhere to overwhelm the country. They control it.
Okay, I understand.
Yes. So he's talking about, I'm worried. I'm seeing what is going on.